How you doing, guys? Got a rare day off, so I thought I'd throw out a video. Anyways, guys, I work in a very small place. There are only 4 of us there. Unfortunately, no matter whether you work in a big place or a small place, you always have that one weak link. We have one who for some reason thinks he's way above. And this is even over the owner and the 2 of us workers. He's paying his way through college, which, okay, that's fine. But has this impression that once he graduates, he's going to land a $1 million job the first day. Very unrealistic. That shows his inexperience in life matters. Anyways, I brought that up, bringing this up because the other day, he asked me, he says, you know, and about the same about my coworker as well. You get up, you go to work, you put yourself through all this just to go home and come back the next day and do it again. And it kind of took me off guard. I kind of looked at him and said, well, you know, reason being, I like a roof over my head. I like food on my table, and I'd like to put something away for my retirement, which I've pretty much been doing on my own for many years now. Anyways, it just kind of threw me off, and like I said, I told my other coworker about this, who by chance is one of the hardest workers I've ever met. This woman can run circles around me. I mean, we're both getting up there in years, but the energy level of this woman is unbelievable. Well, we both knew, yeah, okay. But with the attitude he's got, he doesn't realize he's burning bridges behind him, and one of these days he may need that job. Anyways, guys, that's not what I wanted to talk about, but it kind of is leading up into why I'm mentioning this. I just got finished watching the February JW broadcast. And, you know, in all honesty, for those of us who have seen it, there really was nothing new. It was the same old thing that we've been hearing for years. And it opened up with the cart witnessing in the national parks. It looked to me that they're trying to deviate the attention away from the cart wake-ups. You know, people like to call them cart crashes, but the cart wake-ups by putting them in a nice, serene setting. Okay, that would be nice. But then again, to be a Jehovah's Witness today, you don't have to say anything. You just sit by carts. And again, they called it a privilege. I did the cart witnessing once, and I couldn't get the day done fast enough. I mean, I can sit in the park on my own without a cart. I mean, that to me was a complete waste of time. But then again, they don't want Jehovah's Witnesses really talking to anybody anymore. That's why they did away with the ministry school. The other thing in the broadcast was how best to utilize your time. This was nothing new. I mean, first of all, we all know that Watchtower wants all of your time, as much as they can get. But they're talking about recreation like people not in the organization do nothing but play. And in all honesty, that's a very unrealistic view. Before I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses, I had very little time for recreation. I had very little time to myself, to the point where when I did have alone time, I thoroughly enjoyed it. When I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses, I had even less. And with their way of thinking, even work-related issues was recreation. Now that I am no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses, I have even less time for recreation. So where they get the idea that people play constantly, I mean, I can't speak for everybody. I can just go by myself, but I know I don't have a whole lot of time for recreation. And maybe you can call making YouTube videos recreation. What's that? 10 minutes a week? Anyways, they brought these 2 kids out from whatever congregation, it doesn't matter. And, you know, to those parents, don't ever put kids in bow ties. What are you asking them to get beat up? They used the example of rocks. They had 2 jars. One jar full of little pebbles, which basically was the recreation, the non-essential things in one's week. Playtime, basically. And they had these large rocks. What the speaker did was have these 2 kids put the large rocks in the jar with the little pebbles. Now, the large rocks being the important things, basically meeting attendance, ministry hours, and things of that nature. Obviously, since all the little pebbles weren't in that jar, the big rocks wouldn't fit. So what they did now was put the big rocks in the other jar, the empty jar, and then told the kids, now pour these pebbles over these big rocks. Kids are kids. This was a tag team effort. It was funny. One little kid starts pouring the pebbles into the jar with the big rocks. And the other kids grabbing the jar, shaking it, and maneuvering all the little pebbles to see how much they could get in. They actually got a good amount of them in. But this is what team play comes into play. But actually, it was just a ploy to get you to spend more time at the Kingdom Hall, in the ministry, and such and such. Anyways, he asked them about an idea they'd like to see for Caleb and Sophia cartoons. Well, they gave their, first of all, that they were spoon-fed what to say. Basically, because kids' ideas, I'm sure they don't want to hear. They said, this is what we want you to tell the people at home or at the Kingdom Halls what you'd like to see. If you want an idea for a Caleb and Sophia cartoon, Watchtower, why don't you get realistic? Why don't you have Caleb and Sophia out in the ministry where they're touched inappropriately by an elder, just to show how Watchtower handles such issues? I don't think you'll do it because you deny there's a problem to begin with. Anyways, Jeffrey Jackson had a part, the defining moment in one's life. You remember Jeffrey Jackson? Yes, that's right, the liar in front of the Australian Royal Commission several years back. He was talking about witnesses who are mentioned in Watchtower articles, and we all know that these people are hand-picked, and they're spoon-fed, much like the examples as to what to say. Well, what was the defining moment in your life when you decided to serve Jehovah? When you were arrested for not allowing yourself to be conscripted in the military service? Okay, we all know that everybody's life isn't all star-spangled bang and blow-ups and things like that. Most people's lives are boring. And we all know that the examples in the Watchtower, as well as up at the podium, and I've done this in past videos, are seriously embellished on. But talking about defining moments in one's life, how about William Kendricks? What was the defining moment in his life? For that matter, what was the defining moment in Candace Conti's life? Okay? I looked at the defining moments in my life, and it has nothing to do with Watchtower. But basically what he used was Hebrews chapter 11 as an example. He's right. Bible characters compared to current-day Jehovah's Witnesses. When, in all honesty, there is no comparison. Okay? Jehovah's Witnesses are kept in this little bubble, repetitious thinking all the time. They're kept in the ministry all the time. They're kept studying all the time, to the point where Jehovah's Witnesses are dead tired. They're not thinking. They allow their governing body to think for themselves. But one scripture that I would like to point out, and this is from Matthew chapter 11 and verse 30, where it says, "For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." And that was Jesus speaking. Jesus did not bog down his followers with rules, regulations, spending all your time in the ministry to the point where you can't think, okay? You can't do things like this 24/7 without damage being done. How many of Jehovah's Witnesses are on antidepressants? And it's not because they're living in Satan's world. It's because they're going to Satan's organization. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much all I wanted to say about the February broadcast. But it just looked to me that with everything they've been telling Jehovah's Witnesses all these years, that your time that you're giving just isn't good enough. Anyways, guys, that's all I wanted to say. Sorry, guys, I got a bit of a cold. I'm coughing a little bit. But anyways, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that if anybody has seen it or what you have to say about it. I want to thank my subscribers, guys, and if you come across this video, hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Anyways, guys, I'll be seeing you soon. You have a good day.